Despite its high-profile American surname, Lacetti remains a thoroughbred Korean car with all the ensuing consequences. The body of Lacetti is strong, with double-sided galvanic treatment. But the paintwork, like that of the vast majority of Koreans, is quite delicate and easily amenable to external influences. For example, by the condition of the body, you can quite accurately determine how often the car leaves the city. On the thresholds, doors, and fenders there will certainly be traces of contact with bushes, trees, or tall, hard grass. The places of chips, if they are not treated with anti-corrosive, quickly turn into rust spots. As a rule, after 2 or 3 years of operation, paint peels off moldings and door handles. Dealers repainted damaged elements on warranty cars free of charge. After 3 or 4 years, the paint peels off the wiper leashes and they begin to rust. The windshield and side windows are not resistant to external influences. They are easily scratched, and on the side there are noticeable marks from frequent contact with the hard rubber band of the door seal. And for station wagons and hatchbacks, the tailgate glass washer tube bursts. The electrical equipment on the machines of the first years of production was not reliable. The climate control unit failed, due to poor quality manufacturing of the electrical board. $130. The contact in the circuits for turning on the air conditioner, heating the rear window and mirrors is lost. The electronic clock on the instrument panel burned out, usually the display blinked or completely died. Engines. The engines were inherited by Lacetti from Opel, and along with birth defects. On engines of 1.4 and 1.6 liters, in the first year or two of operation, the exhaust valves were wedged, which led to the repair or replacement of the blockhead. If the engine runs unevenly, loses power and eventually refuses to start, then it's time for a service. On warranty machines, repairs, as a rule, were carried out free of charge. And since 2007, new valves have been installed. From chemical reagents, the engine radiator becomes unusable. Oxygen sensors, from 2,700 rubles, and ignition modules fail from our fuel. The fuel level sensor that comes with the pump is not very reliable. Quite quickly, the injection nozzles, the nozzles of which are devoid of a strainer, are clogged with solid particles in gasoline. They require regular flushing. At the same time, you can also clean the intake manifold and throttle valve. Engines are often called snotty by mechanics due to oil leaking through the seals of the cylinder head, sump, and filler neck. And they recommend replacing engine oil not as prescribed, once every 15,000 kilometers, but more often. The timing belt is replaced at least every 60,000 kilometers. Transmission. The standard transmission on the Lacetti is a 5-speed manual gearbox, which was previously installed on various Opel models. The unit initially could not boast of small lever strokes and exemplary clarity of gear shifting. But, despite this, manual gearboxes are durable. After 150,000 kilometers, it may only be necessary to replace the lever backstage mechanism. The clutch on average withstands 100,000 kilometers. But before this period, the working cylinder, which is combined in a single mechanism with the release bearing, may leak. Repair will cost a pretty penny, because to replace it you will have to remove the gearbox. The Eisen 81-40 LE automatic transmission was aggregated only with a 1.6-liter engine. But for the 1.8-liter, 2 automatic machines were intended at once. 4-speed ZF4 HP16 unit or a 5-speed Eisen 55-51 LE box. All automatic transmissions are practically devoid of inherent problems, but, as a rule, nurse no more than 150 to 180,000 kilometers before overhaul. Chassis and steering. The Chevrolet Lacetti has fully independent suspension, which makes the car handle well. Moreover, the chassis is quite strong and not burdensome to maintain and repair. But there are no rules without exception. At risk on cars of the first years of production there were shock absorbers, both front and rear, which rarely nursed up to 50,000 kilometers. On every third car, by this run, the steering rack begins to knock along with the steering tips. Knocks in the rack can be eliminated for a while by tightening the appropriate lock nuts, but in order to get to them, you have to disassemble half of the front suspension. Extraneous sounds by this period of time also come from the stabilizer struts and the thrust bearings of the front struts. Wheel bearings are enough for about 80 to 100,000 kilometers. The front ones go separately, but the rear ones change entirely with the hub. By the way, they will also have to be changed if the ABS sensors fail. They form a single hole with the hub. And the longest in the rear suspension are the levers. they will need to be replaced by 120 to 150,000 kilometers.